Welcome to Rhyme and Reason, the podcast where music meets meaning. I'm your host, Priss. Join me as we dive into the stories behind the songs, exploring the rhymes that make us move and the reasons that make us think. Across all genres, we'll dissect the lyrics, analyze the beats, and uncover the hidden gems that make music magic. Let's get into the rhythm. New episode every week. Rhyme and Reason, where every note has a story. Hey lovely, it's your girl Priss. Welcome to another episode of Rhyme and Reason with Priss. Thank you so much for joining me again and for the feedback that I've been getting regarding the previous shows. And I just wanted to thank you for allowing me to grow with you, to improve as I go, and any encouraging word that has been sent my way regarding the concept of the show and regarding the delivery of the show. I really appreciate it. Please keep it coming. I love to hear from you. I also like to hear what you think of the tracks that we discuss, because I want this to be an ongoing conversation, and we want to use music for what I deem to be the reason it exists, basically to speak into our lives, right? So if we cannot take those lessons and apply them, or at least recognize them in day-to-day life, what are we doing? So please keep it coming. Please keep letting me know what you would like to hear more of or less of. I don't mind. And I will definitely consider every bit of feedback and try to make this as great of an experience as I possibly could. So, having said that, how was your week? Let me know how your week was. I know I can tell you mine was pretty busy and pretty exciting. There's never a dull moment with my little bundle of joy that I still have staying with me. But I'll tell you a bit more about her in another episode. But today I picked a song that I feel is ideal to introduce this new concept that I'm adding to the show. There will be episodes that I will host this show by myself without a guest. Hear me out. As much as I love talking to my peers and to other people from different walks of life and asking them what they think on songs that I deem, or we both deem, iconic. I love doing that. But I wanted to have episodes whereby I can fully express my thoughts as well on these songs, especially the ones that hit close to home and I can personally relate to. The best way to deliver that and to have that heart-to-heart with you, dear listener, is for me to host some of those by myself. So you can hear me out, see if that applies, if it resonates. Let me know if it doesn't, or if you have a different angle that you're looking at certain lyrics and you have a different interpretation from the one that I have. Because trust when I say the way we interpret music or lyrics or any art, it's quite relative, isn't it? So this is no different. I would love to hear your thoughts, and let's keep this going and keep engaging. But yeah, just wanted to, put that out there. So I hope you like it. And I do like the idea of a one-on-one. I know it's not technically a one-on-one, but you get me, a one-on-one with you to where you can see my heart. Bit by bit, I'll be sharing, about my own personal life and why music means so much to me. So yes, having said all that, the song I picked for this week is Unwell. And this is a song by Matchbox 20. They're an alt rock group, American. And this was released in 2002. The lead singer, Rob Thomas, is the one who wrote this song. It did really, really well on Billboard charts. It even got nominated for a Grammy in 2004 for, best pop performance by a duo or group with vocal. And I feel like it's very well deserved, and we'll get into why. Before I get into the meat and potatoes of it, I will say this, however. One of the things that draws me to the song is the arrangement, the guitar arrangement. That intro in itself is something that sticks with you. It's an earworm of sorts, and you can't unhear it. You're definitely hooked once you've heard it a couple of times. So yeah, that's one thing I find really fascinating about the song. Now, to what I like to focus on, which is the lyrical content. Let's talk about a few of the themes that are in the song. You can't ignore the references to matters to do with mental health, mental wellness, being misunderstood, and trying to understand yourself, really. So it's a very vulnerable song, very reflective and contemplative, a very emotional delivery of the song. It connects you to the plight of someone who's grappling with their own, personal setbacks. So it's very raw and authentic. It definitely strikes a chord with me. I will attest to the fact that it's a go-to song for someone who is going through some sort of life crisis. Okay, so let's look at the lyrics first and foremost. So it starts off staring at the ceiling, making friends with shadows on my wall. All night, hearing voices telling me that I should get some sleep because tomorrow might be good for something. Right. So, staring at the ceiling, making friends with shadows on my wall. That depicts some sense of loneliness, some sort of isolation. You can look at that physically, or you can look at that as just being isolated by the fact that you're not understood or you're not feeling understood. And then all night, hearing voices telling me that I should get some sleep. If you've ever experienced anxiety or anything along those lines, then you can probably relate to the feeling of knowing that you're supposed to be sleeping, but your body and your mind just won't shut off for that to happen. And it's quite a lonely experience because your mind is going one way, your body is ready to shut down, but your mind won't let you go to sleep. And then every day there's that hope of tomorrow might be good for something. And this is a consistent, recurring event for someone who is grappling with anxiety, especially, and I can speak for myself really, as someone who has experienced or who does experience that. And there's a certain heightened level of anxiety when you feel like emotionally or mentally you're headed for a crash or you're headed for a crisis, So that's how the opening of this song, that's how I interpret the opening of this song. What really gets me is the chorus, which is, I feel, the highlight. Okay, I'll read the lyrics and I'll tell you why this is the part that speaks to me the most. So the chorus is, but I'm not crazy. I'm just a little unwell. I know right now you can't tell, but stay a while and maybe then you'll see a different side of me. I'm not crazy. I'm just a little impaired. I know right now you don't care, but soon enough you're going to think of me and how I used to be. It's this need, this constant need to feel or be understood. Excuse me. So it's really a sad state of affairs when you feel like you have to go around explaining yourself, as if you're not stressed out enough and you're not, overwhelmed enough. There's this added pressure to have people understand you and accept you, having to go around saying, no, I'm not crazy. I'm just not well. I'm not crazy. I'll be okay. This is just a rough patch. And I don't know if it speaks to someone going through it, or if it speaks to the state of society sometimes, depending on, who you surround yourself with. It's unfortunate. There are some people who go through like heavy, like strenuous mental crises, and they feel like they have to go around explaining themselves. And that's that's the weight I feel from the chorus of this song. Now, should we have to explain to people why we're not okay? Should we have to explain that we're not crazy? And what is crazy anyway? So those are certain conversations we can have around that, and how matters of mental health and mental wellness are just riddled with stigma sometimes. I find it very, very unfortunate. Okay, so I'm going to open up a little bit now about a loved one that is in my care. Now they have a developmental setback, and so I find that need to explain what's going on with them whenever we're, say, in a supermarket, and they process things a little differently, and they have different sensory needs. And I find, even though people don't come up and ask or explicitly ask you to explain what is going on, sometimes even just the looks, the glares that you get, kind of make someone who's going through it, or their guardian, that is, have to feel like they have to explain. Oh, she's just overwhelmed right now, overstimulated. Oh, she'll be okay, and it's really quite stressful. And I wish there was a way we could encourage people to be more accommodating, more understanding, to extend grace, really, because that's just an added stress to someone who's already going through something tumultuous, to have to stop and feel like they owe people around them an explanation. So this part of "I'm not crazy, I'm just a little unwell," it breaks my heart, you know. So moving along, the second verse, "I'm talking to myself in public and dodging glances on the train." Those glances I was talking about, yeah. And I know they've all been talking about me. I can hear them whisper, and it makes me think there must be something wrong. So I guess this would be more of a plea to people at large, really, to be a little more accommodating. When you notice someone is in distress, if you can't help, I think it's just better to not add to that stress by making them feel worse, or making them feel even more uncomfortable, because that can actually exacerbate the situation or just escalate the situation unnecessarily. If someone was already feeling paranoid, not because of anything that was done, but because that's the mental struggle they're going through, the last thing you want to do is to actually make what they're afraid of a reality. If they're afraid of being discussed and ridiculed, the last thing you want to do is to discuss and ridicule them, right? So I would use this as a call to action, as far as a support. We're all a support network for someone, whether we like it or not. We all have a support network, and we are all part of a support network for someone. Be that one that is protective of someone who is vulnerable in situations like this. And so when we get to the bridge, talks about, "I've been talking in my sleep. Pretty soon they'll come to get me. Yeah, they're taking me away." Okay, this one speaks so much to a topic that I share a lot about on my own personal page, that is. And issues that stem from fear are just some of the most difficult issues to deal with. And please bear in mind, I want to also note this. I probably should have said this at the beginning. These are my interpretations of these songs. This is how I process them. This is how I apply them. And they're coming from a place of personal experience. So it might not be how you see it. And I am in no way, shape, or form a mental health practitioner or a mental health worker of any kind. A health scholar I was, but not specializing in mental health. But it is a topic that is near and dear to my heart because of my own experience and those of some people that are close to me, that are in my life. So I just thought I'd put that disclaimer out there So you know that this is coming from a place of personal experience. Having said that, so the issues like anxiety, paranoia, depression, even because anxiety and depression, it just kind of go hand in hand sometimes. Any overwhelming amount of stress, usually at the root of all that is fear. They're fear-based, and there's always that fear of looming danger or a looming bad outcome. And so this song really does dig into that. So on the bridge, that's what I take away from that. It's just 3 lines of really heightened fear when you're losing control, and so basically that is almost line for line how I interpret the song Unwell by Matchbox 20. And just to speak on my experience, since I am my own guest, and this is the time that I usually talk to my guest about themselves. So a little bit about myself. I got married and I had my first child in 2003 with my husband, Walter. And 2 years later, we had another beautiful baby boy. And so we had our 2 boys. And I would say just like any start to any marriage, it was rocky at first, but we found our stride, and we were good, and we made it work. We had a beautiful family, and then we had a battle. My husband was diagnosed with cancer in 2014, and at this point, my boys were 8 and 10. Yeah, they were 8 and 10. And we were living far, far away from home. So we really didn't have our usual family network, but we did have family, friends that had become family that we had around. So they really came in clutch for us. So I think if I've ever really dealt with mental strain or stress or just a tough break in life, that would have been the very first tough break. But for the sake of my husband, I didn't have the luxury of dealing with it, and of dealing with my own, fears and stress, because my focus was on getting him through what had to have been the scariest time in his life. And I'll talk more as we go. But in 2015, a year after that diagnosis, he went to be with the Lord. And I think a few months after that, I found myself struggling to come to terms with that. And I can safely say the state of my mental well-being has had enormous ups and downs since. And I've had seasons of real great despair. And so I relate to this song because in a way, when I think of myself in my life, I feel like there are two different Priscillas. There's the Priscilla before 2014, and then there's the Priscilla after. And I spent a long time trying to be the Priscilla I used to be. But how is that even possible when you've gone through something like that? So it's that effort, that struggle to get back to what I deemed normal some way, somehow. The more I tried to get back to that, the more mistakes I made in my life, the more bad decisions I made in my life, because I wanted to run away from the state of being hurt. I wanted to run away. Whichever way I could do it, I really tried to escape it. And with every attempt to escape, I kept making, one questionable decision after another. I'm in a much better space now, but I can totally relate to, mental turmoil, emotional turmoil, really. Let's call it emotional because, So I myself have battled with severe depression and anxiety for years. And I have lost friends along the way of no fault of their own, because sometimes I've been quite difficult to love. It must be really hard to see me go through some of the things that I have had to overcome. So I don't know if I were my friend, I don't know if I would still be around either. So I strive to be able to answer that and say, yes, I would still be around, but I don't know. So I want to take this time to thank everyone who has taken the time to listen to me, rant or vent or express. Anyone who's even said an encouraging word, anyone who's taken time to even remind me of God's promises to me and pray with me and helped me feed my faith and starve my fear, as tough of a feat that was. There have been some who have helped me, pulled me out of the pits of despair time and time again. So I'm really thankful for what I deem my village. Some who have stepped in and stepped up for my children when I couldn't be the best mom I possibly could, or the best mom I wanted to be. So I'm really thankful to anyone who has, like I said, instead an encouraging word, hug, a phone call, a check-in message, taking me out for coffee, a prayer, a scripture shared, or even recommending therapy. Therapy actually, was huge in my recovery. So at the end of this show, when I post this show, I will put some links to some emergency mental health responders or resources that you can use if you're feeling, if you feel like you need some help. I will definitely make sure that this show and our pages are, giving you access to that. So, yeah. Unwell. What a song, eh? I look forward to the next show. I really want to thank you for taking your time and spending this time with me. I know today was a little bit on the heavy side But I want to assure you that I'm in a much better space right now. Get help if you need it. The more you prolong and you stay um, in that state without any sort of intervention, be it your church or your physician or a counselor or a support group or your friends even, the longer you go, the longer it'll take you to get up from that. And I would really like for you to be able to get up from this, lovely. You matter, your feelings matter, your fears matter, but your health matters too. So take care of your health. Take care. Bye, lovely.